Welcome to the Six Fix Podcast. I'm Digit Murphy, your host, and I'm here with my wonderfully talented co-host, Lisa Haley. She's one of the top coaches in Team Canada, and we're happy to have her on the show and also to be part of our organization at the Toronto Six. Lisa Haley, welcome.
Hey, good morning, Dig. How's everything going with you?
Hey, I'm awesome. You know me, rocking and rolling, first thing in the morning, ready to go. We're on the podcast. We're on the Six Fix Podcast. So, Lise, you know, you're part of the team, right? How is it? You've been out to practices, you know, talk about your experience and why you wanted to be part of this whole energy.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Honestly, it's been awesome. I think we've got 4 skates under our belt now, or I should say. Players have been awesome. They're really engaged, really committed. You can tell everybody really wants this. For sure. And obviously a chance to work with you, Digit. I mean, I think you're a legend in the flesh here. So it's exciting to be a part of this staff. It's been great so far. I'm really excited for what's to come.
I'll tell you, Lise, you just add just a totally different dimension for me. And I talk about the Digit Murphy crazy all the time. You've been experiencing it. And, you know, what I love about coaching with you is how professionally run, you know, you can run the practices and you got all the charts and the graphs and, you know, the systems. And that is such a perfect marriage for me as a coach, because as you know, I'm the creative. I'm the one that stopping practice, cracking the jokes, you know, and it's just been a great energy and chemistry. I mean, I am so pumped to have you.
Yeah, thanks. I couldn't agree more. I think that's the best part of a coaching staff is if you can find ways to complement each other's strengths. And I find the same thing right out of the gate with us. It just feels like we click really well. So I don't know. Hopefully the players feel the same way. I think we've, accomplishing a ton in our practices, even with, the limited situation we're in. It's been going great.
Oh my God, right? Do we want to talk about that? Like the whole COVID problem, right? I mean, but the good news was we had them on the ice once together and they look good, but it's a problem, right? Coaching 10 people in the rink.
Yeah, totally. And all the years of coaching experience we have, I don't know if either of us have tried to do this for such an extended period of time where you really have to be creative to chunk it up in a way that we're still accomplishing and learning. But we're not gassing the players because lots of times we have 7 skaters or 8 skaters on a side, and good thing that we're good at what we do.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's kind of the fun of it too, right? It's a puzzle, right? It's something we've never done before. And I just feel this kind of collective female energy, like it's very collaborative. It just feels right and it feels good. And I think the players feel it too. So, I'm hoping that this kind of just impacts the team in a positive way. I don't know how you're thinking about it, but that's what I'm feeling anyways.
Well, I feel like they've brought the right approach. I mean, they've been bought in. In my opinion, I think they're really understanding of the situation and they realize that we all have a role to play to make the most out of the situation. And that's what I see them doing. I feel like they've been really engaged and ready to learn and ready to work. And, again, I think we're getting a lot done under the circumstances.
Oh yeah. And, going into the Lake Placid bubble, of course, we're a little bit, we're going through some adverse times here with COVID, and to have lack of practicing, not doing it together. I've been telling the kids, it's Miracle 2.0 and the Canadians win. How do you feel about that? Maybe the Canadians will win the championship in the Miracle in Lake Placid.
Well, that's the team I'm rooting for sure, obviously. Actually, that came up in one of my conversations yesterday, was just that, how cool it is. It's at Herbrooks Arena. So much hockey history has been made there, and we get a chance to compete for a NWHL championship, Isabel Cup, on that ice. I think that's pretty unique.
Yeah, it's pretty special. And what can you tell the people of Toronto that are listening about why they should be part of this movement?
The women's game is growing leaps and bounds. And, I'm proud to be a part of the Toronto Six, proud to be part of the NWHL, proud to be a part of the growth of our sport professionally. COVID's been nasty for sure, but I also think, the WNBA and their chance to have a little bit bigger piece of the stage was huge and impactful. I see the same thing happening here. Canada, hockey's our sport. Of course they should be watching. I mean, the hockey's awesome, and we're going to hopefully have great viewership, and people can see for themselves what a great product it is. And, hopefully we turn that into fans for life for us.
Yeah, and the whole Hockey Canada thing and supporting us, I think is massively important because Hockey Canada, USA Hockey, the IHF, like this is important as women get out of college to have post-college opportunities. And when, how do you feel about the CWHL being folded? Because I look at that as a lack of opportunity now. Like 6 teams kind of went by the wayside. Like, what do you think about that?
No, I totally agree with you. And I think everybody that's been involved in our game has the best of intentions to try to get us what we deserve to have. It's how do we go about doing it the best? And I think, that's where there's definitely some room to grow, whether it's, better structure within the CWHL so that it doesn't have to fold, or, the NWHL seems to be doing things in a really great way. I mean, I've been really impressed by the growth that I've seen in the league over the past year or two, and I think it's about to take off even further here now. We all want the same thing, and
Right.
hopefully, we can find the right path forward.
Well, we're hoping that the Lake Placid opportunity showcases women's hockey in a different way. I think the leadership change, as far as going from Danny Ryland to Tyler Taminia is a step in the right direction. And then what do you think the impact of the franchise modeling of the new way that the NWHL is going to be looking at hockey? Do you think that will have an impact on the sport?
It's got to have a positive impact. I mean, it's the model that's been tried, tested, and proven to work in all of the professional team sport environments on the men's side. So, for sure, in my mind, you've got the right people with the right knowledge, and the right capacity to support the league through this new ownership model. It's got to work. I mean, it's been proven through so many other leagues. So, again, it's how quickly the league can expand and grow. Who knows? But I think the steps that have taken so far are on solid ground, and I think the results will show on the ice. I mean, the players are getting what they need to perform at their best.
Let's turn the table back to you. Let's talk about your history. Right now you're at Ryerson, been there for a while. You started out, and I didn't know this. You were a trainer, okay? And you're from the right coast, over there, right? You're from
Yeah, the Atlantic coast. Yeah.
the Atlantic coast, the right side, the east. So talk a little bit about your journey starting as a trainer in women's hockey. You like gold medal, Olympic coach. Like I'm like, doing this to you. Like, yes, thank you for being on our staff. Talk a little bit about
Right.
your rundown memory lane.
Sure. Yeah. I just love the game. I love sports in general. I love competing. And, I was a victim to not having the right type of role models in my life when I was younger, right? Meaning like there was no female sports at the professional level. But I knew I loved sports and I wanted to stay involved. And, for me, as I'm finishing off high school, thinking about, well, how do I stay in the game after I finish my college career? And that was the best way forward that I thought I could stay in the game was to be an athletic therapist. So that's what I studied. And, I had a great playing career at Concordia University, played there for 5 years, got my degree, and started working at a university back east at St. Mary's University in Halifax as an athletic therapist.
Mhm.
Worked with their hockey team, football teams, everything. But sometimes fate knocks on your door at the right time. Women's hockey became a championship sport in Canadian university hockey. And, I had a very forward thinking athletic director at the time. And he asked if I'd like to volunteer to coach the
Of course.
varsity women's team.
Volunteer.
Yeah, yeah,
Here
yeah.
we
That's
go.
scary. Yeah, I asked what the budget was. He said, "Okay, well, it's $5,000." I said, "Oh, okay." And what about the salary? He said, "Well, you can take your salary from that."
Oh
You
my God. What year was
so
that? What year was that?
Yeah, that was 97, 97.
Oh man,
You
yep.
know, but he wanted to be out front of it, like,
Yeah.
and so I volunteered to coach the team, and you know, within a few years, we were doing some really great things, and it did evolve into a full time coaching position,
Yeah.
and my Hockey Canada career was coming around as well, and I had to make a choice. Was I couldn't keep doing two jobs, basically athletic therapy and hockey, and I love the game so much, and the fact I could be a professional coach was that was an easy decision to make.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't actually know that whole story. I should have known that. No, but it's same, right? Like when I was at Brown in the, late 80s, early 90s, thank God for Title IX, right? Because that kind of saved us. And how do you think the lack of Title IX has it helped or hurt women's hockey in Canada? Because you don't have an actual law that says you have to have it because it could be a good thing too. I don't know. Like I don't think that just because the United States has Title IX, that it's actually a good thing. Like, what's your take on the whole Title IX thing? Because you're in college now.
I think there's so many angles to it all. I mean, first of all, equity for women is something I'm always behind 100%. I support it 100%, obviously. I think the effects of Title IX in the U.S. has provided a lot more scholarship opportunities, obviously, for female athletes, including Canadian female athletes. You know, I think
Yeah.
we've lost a big drain of talent from our side of the border down to the U.S. because of Title IX. You know, the result is players being able to play at a really high level and
Yeah.
still get a great education. So I support that, obviously. I think it's affected the coaching side the most because obviously, you know, these are coveted professional positions, and it's affecting us north of the border just like south of the border. It's, you know, men want to be a part of our game because they can make a living at it now as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're not just competing against other women; we're competing against other men that want our jobs too, or jobs in the female game. So, there's been positives and negatives for sure.
So what I'm hearing is that it's good for the athletes, but it really hasn't trickled down to the women professional jobs, right? That's
Yeah,
what I'm hearing you
exactly.
say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that's what the NWHL is about, right? I mean, I think that what I really love and enjoy about me now being part of the NWHL is to have owners that not only are valuing the players, but are valuing the administrative positions, right? They're really behind women like myself. They were tickled to death when I hired you. You know, there's been like just so much talk about female led businesses in the news now, women being at the table in leadership roles. So, I got to say, the NWHL is really doing a great job with that, and I think it's going to get better and better. I mean, you look at some of the positions now down there, they're mostly men coaching, but that was hopefully going to be the old style of way to do things. And as you evolve into getting more money and dollars at the table, I think it's going to open up doors for you to do this, and other women like you to do it for a living professionally. What do you think about the NWHL stance on that?
Well, I'm looking forward to the day, you know, where that is possible. And yeah, we're definitely inching closer. And, it's clear to me that the NWHL and specifically the Toronto Six are very intentional in making sure that they're, you know, providing leadership opportunities for females who are ready for that. And I think that's a key element of it as well, is that we have to have females who are ready to step into the role and do it as well. And that's got to start at the grassroots level. I mean, there's still too many dads coaching their sons. Why aren't the moms coaching their sons? You know,
Yeah.
just different things like this. I think it's there's layers to this for sure. But you know what the NW is doing and what the Toronto Six are doing is, you know, a huge step in the right direction. There are women out there ready to lead, and they got a good one on the table right now.
Yeah, baby. We're doing this.
That's
So,
right.
so Elise, I just gotta like follow up on what you were just saying about more moms coaching, right? And I want to know what your take is. How do we get more moms? Because I personally think that moms can make the best coaches in the world because you've got women who are teachers. They know how to keep kids occupied. They know how to keep them having fun. But why haven't more women got into the coaching in your opinion?
Well, I think one of the big reasons is there hasn't been enough opportunity to play hockey at a high enough level. So, you know, a lot of the guys that are coaching their sons, they've played, you know, major junior or, you know, a little bit of minor pro or whatever, you know, and but there's four times more males playing minor hockey and junior hockey than there are females. So right away, like, you know, there's one in five ready.
Right.
So, now with leagues like the NWHL and so on, where, women can extend their careers and play out of college, and now they start their families, around the corner here, they're going to feel more prepared that they can go out and coach, their son's team, or of course their daughter's team as well. But, let's break down this barrier that only men can coach men's hockey. Like, if men can coach women's hockey, women can coach men's hockey. So, I
Thousand
just think
percent.
we need to expand on the confidence level of our females to coach in the game. So they're playing at a higher level now. They're chasing championships. They know what it takes. I think those are some of the right steps in the right direction to get more women in our game.
It's funny. I used to always say, we can be doctors, we can be astronauts, we can be lawyers, but we can't be hockey coaches. Oh,
Yeah,
is that so
exactly.
hard?
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to run by you too is, here's a theory of mine. I think that women just, it's funny, this kid, I'll never forget this. He was 15 years old and I was talking about hockey and sports, and he's like, Didge, I think women are just smarter than men and they don't want to just like waste all that time in a hockey rink and on sports. And I was laughing. But there's a small, I think, a little bit of truth in that, because it takes a lot of time to coach. And do you feel like women, they're raising their families, they got a job? Like, how does that impact the lack of coaching? Because I think it does make a little bit of a difference.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that's why so few women are able to carry through on a long-term career as a professional coach, is because they, at some point they are expected to naturally be the ones that are providing all the home care and so on. I mean, there's exceptions to the rule. I'm very blessed with the husband I have. He's been working from home since the day we met, so that I can chase my career. And he's been the primary caregiver at home, and
Yeah.
he's been behind me 100%. But that's not the norm yet. And
Right.
I think that is a struggle as well. Is women need more support, at home, whether that's through their spouse or partner, or there's financial support. I don't have that answer, but yeah, there's definitely an obligation that women feel to be there raising their kids on a day-to-day basis, and that
Yeah.
doesn't jive so well with the schedule of a coach.
Yeah. And, but it's an important conversation to have, because I think that it's not that women don't want to do it, right? It's that they have different priorities in life. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think what we've done over the course of our existence in sports is we've really copied the traditional model, right, of men's sports. Do you think there's any room to do it a little differently from your perspective?
Uh, there's always room. I mean, I think if COVID has taught us anything, we got to be good at adapting and finding new ways to do things that we traditionally just took for granted. So, I think that can apply across the board. It could apply for this as well. Um, I don't know what that looks like for sure. It's I've been so involved in just chasing my own career. I haven't thought big
Yeah.
picture like that. But, absolutely. I think there's got to be better ways to do it. And we're learning very quickly. If we can create a vaccine in less than a year for a disease that never existed before, I think we're capable of a lot of great things.
Exactly. Exactly. I've said that for years. I'm like, we can cure cancer, but we can't figure out a different model for women's sports and to make people care. So, I think it's noticing it in a different way, right? I just don't think more people aren't talking about how it could be. They talk
Yeah.
about how it was and how it is. And I think as COVID has hit us, this could maybe give us an opportunity to look at doing things differently, because the world is changing. So I think that as we all complain about COVID, just like in life, and this is what sports teaches you, how do we take a negative and turn it into a positive? And I think that that's what sports teaches. Have you found that in your existence with your student athletes, or what kind of stories do you have that maybe that people have turned negatives into positives?
Well, I think COVID is a perfect example. For me, the negative is our OUA season is completely canceled. The positive is I've had some opportunities to coach in some different platforms like the Toronto Six and with Team Hungary that would never have been possible, without this negative situation of COVID and canceling our OUA season. So, I think that's the first example. I think the second one is, our student athletes are very innovative and creative as well. They're
Yes.
finding ways to still stay connected, still train. Like, who knew you could still improve your strength and your power by doing workouts in your living room? It can be
Right.
done, if
Oh,
you're that committed. So, there's been, yeah, I think that, one of the biggest positives of this whole thing is, the innovation button within us. We've all found new ways to be more innovative and still, move forward and keep the needle edging in the right direction, even though there's been so many ways of life taken away from us that we're so used to having all the time.
Yeah, like even me and you, like we're doing Zoom calls and we're like,
Yeah,
doing drawing drills. You're like, hey, I can't see that. Move the screen down. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's you
exactly.
just adapt and adjust, right? And that's what sports teaches you, which I always say, have your kids play sports. It doesn't have to be the end result being a scholarship, right? It's about carrying the hockey bag, going to practice every day. And I
You
think
got
that
it.
there are people that don't even think about sports, because they kind of classify and judge it like, oh, I got to be a jock, I got to be good, right? So
Yeah.
lastly, last question, what would you say to any little boy or girl that's not thinking about hockey, or parents that aren't thinking about hockey, as to why they should play it?
Well, I think hockey's like a lot of team sports. Is just an incredible value to being a part of a team and what it takes to fit into a group that's fighting for a collective goal. Like, hockey is one of those sports where it's so intense when you're on the ice and it's fast paced, and the adrenaline rush is incredible. And yet you got to work within a team environment and play your role for the team to be successful. I mean, what great life skills they are, plain and simple. So come and watch us play. Come and see our players and see, how great they are and how much passion they have for the game. And our staff as well. Like, we're very passionate too. We're not all out here. We haven't won the lottery by any means in terms of the salaries that we get. We're here because, the pure love we have of being coaches and of being a part of such a great game.
Well, Lisa, you're a great ambassador for the sport. I can't thank you enough for just coming on the podcast, being part of our organization. You're an exemplary role model for boys, girls, men, women. I mean, you're awesome. Is there a place where people can like find out more about you or your teams that you coach or anything like that? Or you're like, no, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm great at self promotion. Yeah, for sure.
You're
I
not
don't
good.
know. Google search me, see what comes up. You can follow me on all our social media as well at Lisa Jordan Haley. I'm out there on Instagram and Twitter and everything else. And let's connect.
Yeah, it's funny, you're so Canada nice. Like Canada's like, "Oh, no, not really." And Americans are like, "Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yeah, I have my own like TikTok channel or whatever." So, anyways, it's always awesome to have people like you that are so wonderfully humble, and I'm just so proud to have you on our staff and our team, and I can't wait to win that Isabella Cup. We're going to win it. We're going to win it. We're
Let's
coming
go
at you
get
now.
it.
Miracle. Lake Placid 2.0, the Canadians win. All right, Lise, you're the best. Great to have you. That's it for the Toronto Six Fix podcast. I'm Digit Murphy. See you next time.